Today we start a new series of playthroughs of the old classes and their original storylines, and we're going to start off with the Imperial Agent and the prologue on Hutta. Welcome to the Grizzled Warmaster, everyone. My name is Doug, and today I'm going to be starting a replay through the Imperial Agent's original storyline. We're going to start off with the prologue for the Imperial Agent, which takes place on Hutta. I'm choosing the Imperial Agent first because it is probably, I think, universally agreed to be the best of the original storylines. I would say that its prologue is good, and that all three chapters of the agent storyline are solid, anywhere from good to great stories, with some really intriguing elements. There are some character classes that are more interesting in how they are related to each other. There's a lot of crossover between a lot of the Jedi and Sith classes, and Doc knowing Kaleo is probably, I think, the only real tie-in between the Imperial Agent and any of the other classes. I could be wrong, and I'll find that out as I do the playthrough. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the Agent storyline. And I'm just going to do a rough overview of the events that happen on Hutta, and whether I thought the storyline was done very well. Some of the highlights, my favorite parts, things like that. So first off, we're introduced to the planet of Hutta, which is one of the two original dark side, or I should say Imperial side starting planets. I think Hutta is probably the most interesting of the starting planets, maybe next to Korriban. Now, I think it's actually even better than Korriban, to be honest. There's more going on. I think the side quests that are available are a little more interesting. You kind of jump right into kind of what's going on in the gang war, and it's always present, as in you're in that starting area. It's not its own little separate area that you never visit again. So that adds a little kind of something to it. But let's go ahead and talk about how the agent is presented. The agent arrives from off planet. We don't really know what's going on with him when he gets there, and he acts kind of like he's worried about being discovered, being hunted. So we're left with this kind of intriguing element about him, like what exactly is going on here. We are introduced right away to Keeper, who's going to be an integral member of the cast for the Imperial Agent, even beyond the original 3 chapters. Probably one of my favorite side characters. He's very interesting how he develops over the time. A lot of characters are just kind of there on the side. For example, the Jedi Council, or even many of the Sith Lords from their council. Except for, Ma and a few of the ones that are directly related to the storyline. They are just kind of there, and you don't learn a lot about them. They don't change much. I guess the Keeper would be somewhat like General Garza in his relation to the plot. He's always there. He's always kind of directing traffic, but I think he has a lot more growth, and he is a much more interesting character than General Garza. So it's kind of nice to get this little introduction to him in the beginning. All right, so the plot of the Imperial Agent story revolves around the agent going into the Hutt Nemro's palace in disguise as the Red Blade. This disguise will be put together for him by the alien Jeeg, who sets up the alias, but then also loses the gift you're supposed to give Nemro. So you have to go. There's some adventuring going to recover the gift. After that, you are going to be introduced, or you're going to go and introduce yourself to Nemro via his lieutenant named Carol's Jarvis. He is Nemro's human lieutenant, and then there's also a Twi'lek lieutenant named Tothagen. We also see early on, as we're coming into the Nemro's palace, Kaleo Janus, who will be obviously the first companion for the agent, but we won't get her until towards the end of the story. The story then revolves around your agent as the Red Blade, in disguise as the Red Blade, helping Carol's Jarvis to get on Nemro's good side, or you're getting on Carol's good side to kind of get Nemro onto the Empire's good side. We run into some problems when Carol's Jarvis's sons are injured by a Sith apprentice, and it's decided that you're going to need to have to eliminate Carol's and then use that situation to your advantage through the second lieutenant, Tothagen. All right, the whole time you're going to be doing jobs against Nemro's nemesis, Fothra, who's a rival Hutt. So you'll take several missions that go into Fothra's territory throughout the chapter or the prologue, helping Carol's Jarvis, and then in your final mission to plant evidence that Fothra is working with the Republic, and that then will lead Nemro to seek out the Imperials as help. During the course of this, you're going to team up with Kaleo, who figures there's something interesting about you, something weird about you. You let her know, or Keeper lets her know that you're an Imperial agent, and she agrees to work with you. And then as you're leaving, you have to kill the Red Blade who's come, wondering who's stealing his identity. All right, so that's the overall plot. There are a few really cool moments in this. Many of them have to just deal with the planet itself. Hutta is a fun planet. It's got a lot going on. You can go just trek through the swamp, killing swamp people, or I think they're called act dogs. And as well as completing side quests and hunting down. I didn't do this in the replay because once you've done it once, you don't have to do it again, but you can hunt down the various holocrons that are scattered around the planet. You can also do the heroics here, and they're pretty good, and I'm going to actually do a separate video on the heroics here. All right, well, as for highlights on Hutta itself, and in the agent storyline on Hutta, a couple of things stand out. The first is Kaleo Janus. Though she's never been one of my favorite companions, the interactions between your agent and Kaleo Janus on Hutta are some of the best elements of the storyline there. Kaleo belongs on Hutta, so the interactions there are really a lot of fun. She's a very cool character in that environment. Later on in the agent storyline, I'm less impressed with her, but here in the beginning, she's very cool, very fun to interact with. So definitely one of the highlights of the agent story on Hutta. The next highlight of the agent storyline on Hutta is just the feel that it generates. This is a great way to start off the agent storyline. You get the sense of intrigue, of mystery, of sabotage, of assassination, of all of the different elements that would go into an Imperial agent type character. They're all touched on here on Hutta in this prologue to the story. So it's a great start for an agent. All right, and the last element of the agent storyline on Hutta that I think is just really kind of stands out is actually not so much about the agent so much as it is about Hutta. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I think Hutta is a really kind of cool environment. It really works with this character class and the bounty hunter character class, who both start on this planet. The Hutt gangsters, the kind of lawless town, the gang warfare, the rival Hutt clans, they all set a stage that's perfect for these two character classes. And just the physical environments itself, the swamps and the factories and the rundown elements of everything, just lend themselves well to both of these stories. And, you know, I think these planets, I think all of the starting planets are appropriate for their classes. I just think Hutta is probably the most well done and the most immersive of them. And it works perfectly for these two Imperial classes, specifically the Agent in this case. But that's it, guys. That'll do it for this video. That's just the prologue for the Imperial Agent story. In the next video, we'll get into the Agent story proper, starting with Chapter 1 on Droman Kos. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you'd like, please take a look at the comment or the description down below. We'll have links to various ways you can support the channel through our Patreon, through our Amazon affiliate link, or our Teespring store. If you would, please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and please share with your friends. We're trying to build this second channel up for us, and we'd appreciate your support in this. Thank you all for tuning in, and may the Force be with you, and I hope you enjoy playing Star Wars: The Old Republic.